everyone! So I'm here today with Chloe, one of my roommates, and we're going to be discussing some fun childhood stories that we have accumulated over the years. So what's something dumb that you did as a child?
Well, the first thing that came to mind was when my brother and I were little, maybe like 9 or 10-ish, we're 2 years apart. We read about in a book a kid going to summer camp and taking a warm cup of water and putting one of his bunkmates' hand in the warm water to make them pee. And me being the young scientist that I wanted to try it for myself. And it was scientific curiosity. It was not malicious, but I got some warm water and I crawled up my brother's loft bed, which was like kind of a difficult task because
with a cup of water in your hand.
Right, I was actually a bowl.
Oh, a bowl of
a plastic,
water.
like one of those plastic IKEA bowls.
Okay.
And like those suckers creak, so I was like trying to be sneaky.
Okay.
I crawled up and I put his hand in, and I wasn't really sure if anything had happened. And I waited a little while, and like I don't know what I thought was gonna happen, maybe like a whoosh, but I just felt it was really anticlimactic, so I just poured the remaining water all over him, just to be safe. He didn't appreciate my scientific endeavors. Most of the time I was pretty okay. It was just that I got curious sometimes. Alright, you got one?
Yeah. Okay. Did you ever do stargazing?
Yeah.
No, like the game Stargazing?
Oh.
With flashlights? So we had these family friends. I don't know which ones. I just know we had family friends who taught us this, and it was a mistake. Well, kind of. I probably lost some brain cells because of it. Basically, they taught us that if you go outside at night, it doesn't matter if there's actually stars, and you take a flashlight and shine it up at the sky and turn as fast as possible in circles until you're suddenly on the ground. It was really fun. I don't think I would try it now because there's further to fall.
Especially for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I would only do it on grass.
Yeah. Actually, I might do it now on grass.
I'd do it.
It was a cool sensation.
We should do it. We should do it the next time we go up to your cabin.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
How does it not hurt?
Entertainment for ages. Adrenaline maybe? I don't know. It just doesn't hurt.
Huh.
I mean, I don't remember it hurting. I was also like 10, so again, I had further or less distance to fall. It's not like you're dizzy. I mean, I guess you are, but you do it so fast. You're supposed to spin so rapidly looking at the light that you just tip over, and then it doesn't hurt. You're just on the ground suddenly.
These two things have both happened in the last year.
Okay.
But I thought about doing them when I was like a kid. I just didn't. Lick weird animals. So the two that stand out to me that I've licked this past year are a banana slug and a sea anemone. If you're curious about the kind, it was an aggregating sea anemone, or if you want to get specific to the Latin, Anthoplura elegantissima. This is what I live with. I'm not a nerd.
No.
Not
Everyone's eyes just glaze over because they love looking at you.
It's so true. The banana slug, I licked that one because I learned as a kid that the slugs are supposed to make your mouth go numb, and this is true. It's just like a very little amount of numb. It tastes somewhere between like a really firm, cold scoop of ice cream with like no flavor to it and like a really shiny rock.
That sounds not pleasant.
It was not bad. The sea anemone was worse.
Did it like zap you?
Well, so sea anemones have stinging cells, and the sea anemone I was licking, normally, actually all of the ones...
And other sentences you've started today.
All the sea anemones that live here where we live won't sting you if you just touch them with your skin, because their skin is too thick to like feel the sting. But if you kiss them or lick them when your mouth is has thinner skin, then you can feel the sting. So I think I licked one. Yeah, I stuck my and yep, they sting.
Maybe it's because they feel violated.
Their mouth is also their butt, so it gets weirder. Mouth butt.
Learn new things every day. We would dig holes in the yard. It involved like people falling in them.
Your mom got mad.
She didn't get mad. She filmed me because I got stuck in one of them.
Wait, I have not heard this story.
You haven't heard this? Okay, we actually have it on film somewhere, which I really want to see because I remember it very vividly. I just don't think I've actually watched it back. Basically, we would dig holes in the garden because that was, again, super entertaining childhoods. And
we didn't have video games or iPads.
No, we just had ourselves.
We had shovels and dirt.
Anyway, so we would go into the garden and we would dig holes because we thought we could dig somewhere. I don't know where we thought we could dig to. Yeah, probably China. We tried to run away a few times. Not actually. We just like pack our bags and like get on our scooters. But
right. You get a block and you're like, I'm hungry.
So I think I called him John. I think he called me, it started with a V. Anyway, we had like fake names. And we would like dig, and at one point we were trying to dig these two holes that were next to each other, and then we wanted to connect them underneath. So we just spent all of our time out in the yard trying to dig to the other side. So we'd have to get into the hole, right? To like...
That must have been a big hole.
Yeah, it was a pretty big hole. So at one point I got down in it and like, I sat in it like this to dig like this way. And I think the way I did it was I stood and then sat down butt first with my legs like this. And I was too deep to like, I'm pretty sure my arms were like here. I think that's how deep it was. It was like a bathtub size. And I got stuck like that, like with my legs stuck like this, because I couldn't, like there's nowhere to bend. So I started crying and I started freaking out because I'm kind of claustrophobic. I was like bawling and I made Andrew go to get my mom to help me. And she comes down with a video camera and it's like, and I'm pretty sure I have seen it actually because I remember it's just like her filming. She's like, Abby, what are you doing? And I'm just like, Mom, I'm stuck. I'm pretty sure that is the same hole that my neighbor fell into. And then we ended up having to put boards over top of them when we weren't digging.
When my brother and I were younger, there was this one girl in one of the like homeschooled communities we were a part of. And we just decided that we hated her. I don't really remember what she did to deserve this, or if she did or not. I need to give her a fake name. Give me a fake name.
Sally.
Sally. We'll call her Sally. We would just come up with these elaborate, what we called Sally traps. And we would just think of the most ridiculous ways to trap this poor girl. And like we used to try to start building them too and like thinking about how we could like lure her into them.
This is like a real person that you tried to trap.
We didn't actually ever try to trap her. We just plotted her demise.
Oh, okay.
And not even demise, just like, here's a giant hole. Oh look, now she's in it. Great, that was like our plan.
Okay.
We didn't think past there.
Okay.
We never got very far because we both have ADHD and we got distracted easily. No one can be annoying while they're trapped in a hole, right?
Unless they cry for their mom.
I don't know. 2 kids, ADHD.
What did you end up actually doing if you got distracted all the time?
We made tea with like the plants in our yard. Tea. We made mud pies. We played other like make-believe games and stuff.
I remember that we would get these big sets of sidewalk chalk and keep them in buckets and stuff. And since our, like my family's house is on a hill, we would get on our 4-wheeled contraptions of sorts. Mine was a worm. I had a worm, like a plastic worm mobile. It was like this green shaped worm and it had 4 wheels and it was my favorite. We still have it somewhere, I think. I think I got it for my 3rd birthday.
Must have been some worm.
It was a great worm. Anyway, so mine was the worm. Andrew usually used his like Hot Wheels car. And it was like a full fit, like he could sit in it and it had pedals in the front. It was really cool. Anyway, so we would take our chalk and like hold onto a piece of chalk and drag it behind us as we drove down the hill. So we'd make really cool lines all the way down the hill. But then we got really bored of making lines and we would draw sometimes, but that also got kind of boring. So then we discovered that if you pour water into a bucket and then mix chalk into it, it makes paint. So we dissolved all of our chalk into water. It was kind of a waste. I feel a little bit bad.
My parents used to get my brother and I silly putty, normal kid thing.
Yeah.
We should never be given silly putty. My parents got us both some for Christmas this year, and we were both like, this is not a good idea. We know now that we can't have it. Because we're irresponsible with silly putty. So the worst silly putty incident for me happened when I was probably I was old enough to know better, probably 12, 13.
Okay.
And I stuck some silly putty to my ceiling. And
that seems like a great idea.
Right. Good start, right? Above my head before I went to bed. And it fell into my ear while I was sleeping. And I woke up in the middle of the night and there was silly putty in my ear. It was not fun. I did not enjoy this experience.
How in your ear?
In my ear. gravity had done some work, and
But you must have just laid in the same position for a very long time for it to seep into your ear.
I'm pretty sure, like, the glob, like, fell, and then it was just, like, oozing its way in. I am a sound sleeper. I have slept through many things. So I freaked out, of course, because there was Silly Putty in my ear, and I couldn't hear out of it, and it was in the middle of the night. And it got stuck to my hair, too, like, hair, like, right here. So I, like, pulled it out of my ear, and I ended up just cutting off that part of the hair. And for a while, I just had this little, like,
chunk of hair.
Little, boop. Yeah.
I actually think I sat on Silly Putty one time. Like, for an extended period of time, and it, like, conglomerated into my clothing.
Right, it does that. It's not good.
It's gross. It, like...
I'm very familiar with what Silly Putty does when it's pressed into clothing. Nothing good. When I was a kid, I played violin. And by played violin, I mean I played violin. Like, I practiced a lot, like, at least a couple hours a day for most of my childhood. And, I didn't like to practice very much, so I entertained myself in a variety of other ways while practicing. Like, I would practice while standing on one foot, or I developed a pretty impressive skill. I would hold books open with my feet, and, like, depending on the book and, like, where I was in it, sometimes I could turn the pages with my feet, and I would read while practicing. I would also, like, read...
Could you actually, like, get information and read the actual book from that?
While playing violin at the same time? Yes. Only something I had memorized, but yeah. Not well. It didn't help at all. I did not get better.
It was just
like,
emotion.
don't be confused here. Like, violin improvement was not happening. Reading was happening.
Yeah.
I was just making sounds out of my violin, and they were music. Like, I could play songs while reading. I've always been a really excellent multitasker, though.
I would never be able to do that.
That's all our stories for now. If you want a part 2, make sure to leave us a comment below. And if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe.
I will see you next Monday. Bye!
That happened a lot, which is why we cannot be trusted with Silly Putty.
For the bloops at the end.
Do it for the bloops!